Candidate forum today with the two guys running for mayor of Sartell, Ryan Fitzthum and David Peterson. You're here, both current city council members in Sartell. So, gentlemen, thank you for coming in today. We talked to them in the first segment, the first half hour, and they're back for another segment now. So let's talk about some of the things that are happening in Sartell. First of all, I believe you guys are working on a new law enforcement center. We'll start with you this time, Ryan. Talk a little bit about what your thoughts are on a law enforcement center and what you'd like to see moving forward with that project.
Yeah, so near and dear to my heart, it's a little more than a law enforcement center, so it's a public safety facility which will house law enforcement and our fire department. Today we are spread out on a more of a campus feel. Our fire department, we store our actual response vehicles in 3 different storage facilities today, right? And so as we move forward on the new facility, we had hoped to actually have broken ground already. We've had some, in a committee level, some delays and pushback, really from getting the price down to where it needs to be. And so we as council set a budget for it, and we're working closely with both chiefs and city staff to get within that budget, so that we don't have a tax impact out to our citizens. But very excited for it, right on Pinecone Road in Sartell, which all residents will be able to see and recognize the financial support and the overall community support for our law enforcement and fire departments. So yet another opportunity to keep us above the curve on law enforcement and fire.
How about you, David? Talk a little bit about the Public Safety Center and what you'd like to see with that project moving forward.
Sure, thank you. It's a project that's long overdue, and the police department right now, they're busting at the seams. They have so many people in the space right now, they just can't barely fit in there any longer. And the fire department, they have their equipment in different buildings, and it's a very tight fit for both the fire and the police department right now. So the current location is a nice location because, or the location it's going to be located at right off of Pinecone, centrally located, which will allow the police and the fire department to continue to have great response times that they have to our citizens. The citizens, when they pick up the phone and there's an emergency, they expect and deserve that both the fire and the police department are able to respond in a adequate and short time. And that's what they currently do now, and this will also allow them to continue that moving forward. I think what I'd like to see and what I've been advocating for is future growth. Let's not just build it for what we need today. Let's take a look into the future, because when we're spending the citizens' tax money, we need to take a look at 40 years down the road, not just what we need today. But let's build it so it's expandable, so we can be versatile with it moving forward and maximize the amount of dollars today that we spend so future generations don't have to pay for something we could have fixed today.
Mm-hmm. So you said that you should have already broken ground on this. Are we expecting that we're going to break ground on this facility sometime next year in the spring? I mean,
yeah, it'll be spring of 19. Okay. We'll be moving forward with bids later this year. Yeah, absolutely. It is designed to be a growth building, but within police and fire, it's ever evolving. So we may need multiple stations in the future. We're not going to lock ourselves into a single.
Let's talk a little bit about the paper mill site. What would you like to see happening with that? There really hasn't been anything happening with that. So get me caught up to speed. We'll start with you, David. Where's the paper mill site at now, and what do you, as the mayor, want to have happen with that site moving forward?
Well, I used to live actually on the east side for about 13 years and almost right in the shadow of the paper mill. So when that tragedy happened, it was it was something I could see, and actually every commute that I had, I saw that the progression of the paper mill from the accident down to it was scrapped out and hauled away. So there's only a limited amount that we can do as a city. It's privately owned, so what I want to make sure that we do as a city is be able to work with the owners as much as we can to develop that site and do what we can on the city. I don't want to be a hindrance to the development of that land. And if I had my druthers, what I would like to do, and what I've talked about before, is if I was king for the day, what I would like to do is I would actually like to have the North Star Rail come there. You have a great site there. You have the third spur that's there. You have the infrastructure that's there. You have the building. You have the parking lot. And I think that is close to 15. It's close to 10, and it's relatively close to 94. I think it'd be a great location for the North Star Rail. And then by having North Star Rail there, that would develop other economic developments on that site as well. That would drive that for Sartell as well. But there's only so much that we could do. That's just my thought of what I would think would be a great location and great development on that site. We just need to do what we can to assist within our power as a city to develop that site.
Okay. And then, Ryan, how about you, too? What are your thoughts about that site moving forward, the future of that site?
Yeah, I'd like to be faceted, and so I think there's an element of residential, commercial, retail, all within that site. If we think back to when it went down, I can still replay the page out to our fire department at the time, and for the next 9 days we spent time there putting out the fire. We've got to work with state and regional partners in order to help develop that out. As we look at from the west side looking over, we've got the original Sartell Bridge, and it'd be awesome to see that bridge turn into a walking path to access the facilities. North Star Rail, I think, is great. Create a destination, a regional destination there. So oftentimes I think of Stillwater and what they've built there with their festivities and everything else in their downtown area. So, you know what, a group of people could go there and have dinner, get on the train and go down to Minneapolis-St. Paul for a sporting event, a concert, any type of entertainment, come back and cap the night off at another restaurant or establishment there. I think would be really start drawing in local people to Sartell.
David, in working with the folks that own that site, are we any closer to finding out what's going to happen? And maybe they don't even know at this point, but it just seems like we haven't really heard anything publicly for a long time on that site. Have you had communications with them?
Well, we have. The city staff has had communication with the landowners. They work with them behind the scenes and stay in touch with the owners. So, you know, that's not an issue, but as far as going forward, you just need to keep that lines of communication open with individuals, whether it's the landowners there, whether it's state, whether it's federal, whoever it is, and with the citizens as well. Because the one thing that we have to keep in mind is we may think something's great, but ultimately we need to have buy-in from the citizens as well. So you need that communication that's open. And I always said you need to listen to the issues and concerns that the citizens have. You can't do what you want to do and fit a square peg in a round hole, despite what the citizens want to have. So if the citizens aren't going to be behind it, it's destined to fail. So you need to listen to the citizens. Yeah,
Ryan, you mentioned you talked about maybe having a downtown type of a feel there along there. Ever since I've been in town, and since 2005, Sartell officials have talked about the idea of creating a downtown. Yeah. It doesn't have the downtown like Sauk Rapids has or St. Cloud has. So talk a little bit about that. Is that even a reality? I mean, is that realistic to think that Sartell could have a downtown? And where would you like to have that? On Pinecone Road, down by the river? I mean, what would you like to do?
Yeah, so past councils have actually determined where they're planning for a downtown is, and it's by our community center, it's by Lake Francis, so it's entrance into those, which is then really supported by all the multifamily you see being built there today, right? So you need that density of people that will go into that downtown to support the local restaurants and retail shops. So that planning that's been in the works for many, many years is starting to move forward now. For the mill site, I see it more of a destination. A lot of people have said, well, you couldn't have housing there because it's too close to the rail. But if we look at Sauk Rapids or many of other neighbors, we've got other housing right there. I also think there's an option that it could be remain an industrial site, right? I don't think we need to determine that outcome yet. I think we need to put energy into what it could be, which will help attract the next owner of it, which will then likely develop out. But yeah, working with the marketplace and allowing options to be out there.
Mm-hmm. David, how about you? Do you think Sartell needs to have a downtown to have its own identity? Or is that something you would push for as the mayor?
I don't think that we have to have a downtown to have our own identity. I think if it's going to occur, it's naturally going to occur. I think us forcing a downtown is problematic if the citizens are not behind the downtown. Now, I've heard other citizens who have told me, when I'm out door knocking, I go out door knocking almost every single night and talk to individuals, and they say, David, that may be the city's dream, but that's not my dream. And so if they're not going to be behind it, you can't force it. You're just throwing a lot of money that the citizens don't want to have, and that's not good use of the taxpayers' money. Now, if the citizens are behind it and it works out, absolutely, let's do it, and let's do it in a thoughtful and planned way, and have a lot of open meetings and listening sessions to what the citizens want to have in a downtown, if that's what they choose to have. We're here to represent the citizens, not ourselves or a small group of people. We're here to represent the citizens.
All right. We have just a minute or two left, so talk a little bit, just closing statements. Why should people go out and vote for you, Ryan, on November the 6th, or early voting now, actually? So.
Yeah, it's open now. Yeah. Again, I go back to that active and engaged. I've clearly demonstrated my desire to be out there in the community, active, engaged. This Wednesday, I'm hosting an open candidate forum at the community center, so people can stop in, free pizza and drinks, kid friendly. Ask any question you want. So as we door knock, once you leave that door, people are, hey, I have another question I wish I would have asked, right? So really, as part of this, as part of all of our other engagements this week and up until election, it's about being open, listening to people, getting their thoughts and ideas, and that positive energy. Just I'd ask for their vote, and I'm available at any point in time for any questions. And
David, how about you? Why should people vote for you to be the next mayor of Sartell?
I think because of my leadership and experience. I have 12 years on the council, and I've been appointed to the spot of acting mayor for 2 years. I have that experience. I have the experience of helping to shape Sartell over the 12 years. I have the experience of being able to help lead Sartell through the recession area while still growing, and being proactive on thinking, and being able to help keep Sartell's tax rate at a predictable and stable growth rate on there. So I have the experience in leadership moving forward. And if people like both Ryan and I, if they vote for me, they get both Ryan and I, because Ryan will still be on the council and we can work together, and I look forward to working with Ryan. If they don't vote for me, I'm off the council. So it's a 2-for-1 deal, if you say, on there.
But in that regard, my council seat would be open, and so David would certainly be a top candidate to take my existing 2 years on council, which would keep both of us on there.
All right. Very good. Thank you guys for coming in. We've been visiting with the two gentlemen running for the mayor of Sartell, Ryan Fitzthum and David Peterson here. Thank you guys for coming in. Appreciate it. Good luck to both of you.
Thank you.